Thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm working from home, as many people are, in this unprecedented time in history of worldwide pandemic and economic crisis. But you know, it's hardships like these that often bring out the very best in us. However, what makes it a bit worse is not knowing what to do, which is exacerbated by the perplexing flip-flops in the information disseminated to the public. For example, here in the United States, we were initially told there was no particular reason for concern. And then we were told that wearing masks was unnecessary. And then we were told we should in fact wear masks. And because there was such a shortage, people started making their own masks. So my thoughts are, because we breathe all the time, it makes very good sense to maximize our safety in every possible way we can and minimize the risk of inhaling COVID-19 and other pathogens. So the very good news is, instead of wearing flimsy disposable masks that hardly do more than make us feel good and think we are protected, we are delighted to finally let you know that there is a new high-tech mask now available. It uses infused metal oxide nanoparticles and an ultrasonic process enabling the specialized chemical compound to turn the masks into highly effective blocks against bacteria and fungi. To tell us more about this technology, we have Dr. Jason Migdal of SonoviaTech joining us from Israel following these messages.
Life Extension magazine brings you new discoveries in health and anti-aging. Our science-based research and supplements are so advanced they're many years ahead of the medical mainstream, with quality control standards that exceed FDA mandates. Life Extension has covered groundbreaking medical research for more than 35 years. For your health and future, you deserve the best. Learn more at lifeextension.com.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to CORONAVIRUS.GOV.
Joining us now from Israel is Dr. Jason Migdal. Sir, it's a real pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Richard, for having me. I'm really excited to talk about our technology to you.
What a strange time in history this is, and thank God we have technology. Here I am in Florida, self-quarantined, and you're in Israel right now with your wonderful company. Please tell us a little bit about the amazing, groundbreaking technology that you're bringing to the world.
Absolutely. So this technology was developed here in Israel, and it focuses on a sound wave process whereby fabrics can be given long-lasting properties which don't use any chemical binders and are fully ingrained into the fibres. We are focusing on the hospital environment and ways we can make it safer by using metallic nanoparticles to provide long-term and high-spectrum antimicrobial abilities. So far, we've looked at the hospital environment and using our fabrics in them, and we've demonstrated that there is a reduction in bacterial and fungal infections when these fabrics were used in place of the beddings, gowns and drapes. And then the pandemic happened, and we had to find ways to provide a solution for the general public, and this is where the SonoMask came about, because it's being proposed as a long-lasting, reusable and washable face mask which could potentially replace the disposable non-wovens that are currently being used.
Jason, how exactly do those nanoparticles kill viruses?
Yes, so it's actually a universal process for any kind of microorganism. The way that it works is that the nanoparticle gives off positive charges, known as ions, and when these interact with the water and oxygen in the air, it causes the formation of free radical species. In layman's terms, this means that reactive oxygen is created which can degrade biological membranes such as that found on bacteria and in envelope viruses. Quite similar to COVID-19 actually.
Regardless of where this horrible virus emanated from, obviously we care about all life on Earth, and I understand that your company has actually sent samples and so forth to China.
Absolutely. So we started to mobilize our technology as a solution for the pandemic very early on in the year. We sent samples to military academies in China and in Singapore, but unfortunately due to labour issues and regulations, we don't think they're actually tested. But what I am really pleased to finally announce, after a lot of months of trying to get this testing, we've recently just acquired a EU authorised lab certification, which means that the fabric is indeed antiviral, and our formulations are now being mobilised in our machine partner in Germany to produce this fabric on a large scale.
And I understand you've actually shipped quite a few thousand to Germany and to first responders and medical professionals in Israel. Tell us about that.
That's correct. So we had a large amount of pilot industrial fabric which had already been produced earlier to the pandemic, and we mobilised this to make masks in Israel. We created employment for lots of people, and when we made these masks we shipped a lot to first responders and teaching hospitals such as the Gustav Teaching Hospital in Dresden, Germany, and also to hospitals in Israel such as Hadassah and Tel HaShomer. We're working with charities like Latet to provide reusable face masks for people who may not be able to afford personal protective equipment. And we're proposing this as a solution for people who are unable to keep buying disposable masks, because this can be washed and reused. And we expect that this will last a year. It's guaranteed for a year in terms of washing ability. And as well as that, we want to introduce this in an organised fashion to hospitals and care workers. So in the first instance, they would wear this over their N95 filtration mask, and it would provide a layer of antiviral fabric that they can feel confident touching, and they would not be spreading the ability of the virus. And also it would act as a barrier in case they were infected and they didn't know they were. It would be a virucidal layer.
I understand that Israel has its own, obviously, its own version of the US FDA, and it's approved in Israel. And how are you doing with regard to processing it here in the United States?
Right, I'd love to tell you about that. So we have all the regulations that meet CE standard, such as the filtration of 3 microns, which means that the actual fibres can filter out particles of a very minute size. And this is in the CE guidelines. We also meet the CE requirements for using non-harmful substances in our masks. Zinc is regarded as a safe material, and this is ready to meet regulations globally. It's poised to, but unfortunately due to current shipping regulations in Israel, we are unable to apply for it here ourselves, just because it would be kept in the country and we would not be able to do the global motives that we are currently utilising. So we are in the process of working internationally to achieve board regulations.
It so happens the Shalom Show's main sponsor is in the health business, really, and that is Life Extension. And I understand that you spoke with Bill Falloon, the co-founder, and he's expressed interest in promoting and actually offering your amazing products to hundreds of thousands of Life Extension members and anyone else, of course, as well.
This was a phenomenal opportunity to talk to Bill and his readers, and we believe that they will recognise this product as an opportunity to provide advanced antiviral protection, which has been engineered in Israel, and it's going to provide a sense of increased well-being. And as well as that, we're going to have more reports coming through, that we're going to do comparative studies. This is in the pipeline, and we're really excited to share the steps with everybody.
I'd like us to continue, but we have to pause for these commercial messages. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back with Dr. Jason Migdal in Israel. Sir, I'd like to ask you, please elaborate a little further and tell us more about how this process actually works. It's really fascinating.
Absolutely. This is a physical phenomenon which basically works on the process that when sound waves of a particular frequency act on a liquid media with the reagents in it that have been supplied, you get the formation of nanoparticles, which are the basis of what goes into the textile to provide the properties we expect. And these bubbles are areas of high pressure and temperature, and they're very minute and they only last for maybe a few seconds at most. But when they implode, they create jet streams, which forces these newly formed nanoparticles deep into the surface of the textile at a very high density and surface area. So not only are you not using any kinds of chemical binders to affix these, you're actually using a very sustainable process that any of these nanoparticles that don't get used in this formation, they just get recycled into the flow system. So this is a machine that can be incorporated into any kind of machinery outlet because it's a roll-to-roll system, and it can be added as a post-treatment for fibres and for treated textiles with quite a high output. And in the future, we expect that we can not only supply antimicrobial and antiviral fabrics, but we can provide treatments for flame retardants, electrical conductivity, odor control, and high specialist textile modifications for high fashion, and as well as that, low energy dyeing. These are all areas which the chemical team here in Israel are working on supplying dedicated formulations for.
Jason, another concern people have is with regard to any toxic properties the nanoparticles may have. People have enough concerns health-wise, and it will be a shame if some of the things they do in order to stave off coronavirus actually can also harm them in some way.
This is a concern that many people could have, and we are very confident that the nanoparticles that we use are regarded by the FDA as generally safe, and especially through our methods, they are completely safe. And this is for two reasons. First of all, the nanoparticles are permanently fixated into the actual fibres of the textile for 90 plus industrial washes. This isn't even domestic washes. This is very high temperature for long periods that were tested in hospitals under very realistic conditions. The other reason would be that the nanoparticles we use, they are not of a size which could enter cells where they could exert effects. They are too large to enter, and we have studied the physiology of zinc. Our chemical team have concluded that the concentrations could never be reached where they would ever exert harm that are stipulated in the literature. So really, it's several reasons why these are regarded as safe, and rest assured, as we are approaching FDA, we are working for emergency usage authorization. There will be similar studies done to demonstrate this.
Another question I have is, what are the latest developments with regard to your products?
Well, yes, I'm actually very pleased to say that after a number of months of trying to find an antiviral lab that was able to do this advanced kind of fabric testing. Previously, we sent samples to China and Singapore, and results were not forthcoming. We didn't get any response whether they even received it. Finally, we found an EU authorized lab in Austria which was able to run the tests we needed, and we, after a few weeks of them analysing the samples, we've just got results back that the fabric is virucidal, and this is a huge advancement for us because the claims that we are making are now validated and based upon the literature, and as well now as our lab certification. And now we're going to work to calibrate this further to identify the contact periods of viral deactivation of the fabric. And as well as that, we've just shipped kilograms of our new formulations to Germany, where our machine partner Bruckner are mobilizing the pilot machine to produce the new treated textiles which are going to be manufactured out and able to create the new demand we have for the SonoMask.
Another question people have is with regard to your term virucidal, killing the coronavirus. Please elaborate on that a little.
Yes, so viruses are not living organisms as such. They are defined as biological elements. So we say the term they are deactivated, and specifically virucidal means that a substance is able to deactivate viral units. And we are very pleased to say that the fabric that we have developed with our unique formulations is virucidal. This can therefore provide a protective barrier from envelope viruses such as COVID-19, and this is a surface which we believe will be able to be touched, and there will be no risk of contamination from doing so.
I was just thinking again that Bill Falloon mentioned that he believes this need for masks is going to be an ongoing situation, not just a matter of months, but actually a life-changing situation. Do you agree with that? Do you think so?
I really do. The landfills are already in trouble with all the plastic that we've disposed of into them. We need to find a solution, universally, which is going to reduce the carbon footprint and spread resources effectively. And at the moment, the N95 respirators are the best point of PPE for medical workers. And therefore, we can provide a fabric and antiviral solution for the general public, and at the same time start to introduce this into the hospitals in a controlled and safe way. And we hope that this will provide a more practical solution as well, because the SonoMask is regarded for comfort, and I can just show you a few designs here. So this is our main model. It comes in a packaging which is eco-friendly, and it comes in its own case as well. So I will do you a quick demonstration. So there you go, you have a neck strap and you have a complete seal over the face, and we are working on designs of small, medium and large to accommodate all potential users, and we are going to continue production and scale it up here in Israel so that we can get our prices more at a more advanced reach for people.
Jason, I was thinking it looks good really, and more important than looks and comfort is the peace of mind and protection it does provide. And for some product like this, an amazing product like this with nanotechnology, coming out of the state of Israel, the Holy Land, is very, very good news for everyone in the world. And before we conclude, sir, please share with our viewers your final thoughts at this time.
So I know a lot of people are itching to get back into work and their daily routine, and they're not sure what kind of solution they can offer themselves to give themselves advanced protection. And I advise them to look more into the SonoMask and what Sonovia are doing, because this is a fabric which can be washed and reused with antiviral technology, which is really becoming a strong point. And the fact that the fabric itself is bactericidal means that you don't have to worry that bacteria are going to grow on the surface of these masks when they get wet, because the fabric itself has these abilities. And I really think that more and more people are going to start using this mask, and our goal is to create a more sustainable and green carbon footprint and give people the security they need to carry on with their lives.
For everyone in the world, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. I would like you to join us again as soon as possible.
Thank you, Richard. It was a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to coming back on the show to discuss the latest developments.
Thank you, Jason.
This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks primarily your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses. When an infected person talks, coughs, or sneezes, droplets carrying the virus may land in your mouth or nose and then move into your lungs. Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. You could develop lobar pneumonia, where one lobe of your lungs is affected, or you could have bronchopneumonia that affects many areas of both lungs. Pneumonia may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing, fever and chills, confusion, headache, muscle pain, and fatigue. It can also lead to more serious complications. Respiratory failure occurs when your breathing becomes so difficult that you need a machine called a ventilator to help you breathe. These are the machines that save lives and that medical device companies currently ramp up production for. Whether you would develop these symptoms depends on a lot of factors, such as your age and whether you already have an existing condition. While this all sounds scary, the push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is moving at high speed. Studies of other coronaviruses led most researchers to assume that people who have recovered from a SARS-CoV-2 infection could be protected from reinfection for a period of time. But that assumption needs to be backed by empirical evidence, and some studies suggest otherwise. There are several different approaches for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The basic idea is that you would get a shot that contains faint versions of the virus. The vaccine would expose your body to a version of the virus that is too weak to cause infection, but just strong enough to stimulate an immune response. Within a few weeks, cells in your immune system would make markers called antibodies, which would be specific for only the coronavirus, or specifically its spike protein. Antibodies then attach to the virus and prevent it from attaching to your cells. Your immune system then responds to signals from the antibodies by consuming and destroying the clumps of viruses. If you then catch the real virus at a later stage, your body would recognize it and destroy it. In other words, your immune system is now primed. Collecting evidence on whether this will be possible, safe, and effective is part of what's taking researchers so long to develop a vaccine. It's a race against time to develop a vaccine amid a pandemic. Each step in vaccine development usually takes months, if not years. An Ebola vaccine broke records by being ready in 5 years. The hope here is to develop one for the new coronavirus in a record-breaking 12 to 18 months.
Masks. Nowadays, everybody's using them as protection from the novel COVID-19 virus. In fact, here in Israel, you can even get fined if you're not wearing one in public. But how effective is the mask you're using? That's a question that can be hard to answer. Unless you're wearing a mask developed by the Israeli company Sonovia. They've developed a unique formula that can be used to treat fabric so that it literally fights off germs, meaning wearing a mask that's made out of Sonovia's antiviral material can protect you from the coronavirus, along with other deadly bacteria and fungi.
Instead of just shielding you from the virus, this mask is going to kill the virus on contact. So if someone is exposed to the virus, the mask material will actually kill it. Or if they are infected with the virus, they won't be able to spread it to other people through breathing because the viral particles will be destroyed.
You can use Sonovia's zinc-coated cotton polyester masks over and over again, and tests show they're even effective after being washed 100 times. But what's most interesting is that Sonovia's germ-resistant formula can be used to treat all types of textiles.
All the textiles that has been used in the surroundings, starting from car seats in public transportation, everything that is made of textile can be treated and can prevent hospital-acquired infections and its effect on the users, on the humans around it.
The need for Sonovia's antiviral fabric solution goes beyond just coronavirus. Every year, 150,000 deaths are attributed to hospital-acquired infections, and 30% of patients in intensive care are affected by healthcare-associated infections as well. So, if medical professionals were to be equipped with Sonovia-protected gear, many lives could be saved. Right now, Sonovia has distributed tens of thousands of its masks to hospitals across Israel to help the doctors and nurses who are on the front line of the coronavirus outbreak. But billions of dangerous germs stick to our clothes when we're out in public, not just in medical centers, which is why Sonovia's masks are now available to the public and can be purchased on their website.
Life Extension magazine brings you new discoveries in health and anti-aging. Our science-based research and supplements are so advanced they're many years ahead of the medical mainstream, with quality control standards that exceed FDA mandates. Life Extension has covered groundbreaking medical research for more than 35 years. For your health and future, you deserve the best. Learn more at lifeextension.com.
Staying connected is easy thanks to the huge range of UHF radios from the team at Uniden. Built to withstand harsh Australian conditions and keep you connected no matter how far you want to go. From campsite to convoy, hiking to highways.
Jace, you got a copy, mate?
Uniden, keeping you connected.
I got a copy, mate.
For more information and to find your nearest stockers, head to Uniden, keeping you connected.
Find magic again. Sprout by HP. With Intel RealSense technology inside, now you can bend the rules of creativity outside.
This concludes our special show for today from On Location in South Florida. I'm Richard Peretz. Thank you for being with us.